These shocking images are coming directly from Assam, and from baton charge to a complete shutdown. What we are witnessing in Assam is described by the local media agencies as probably one of the biggest mass movement of recent time in the region of Assam. We are going to analyze and decode this from point to point factual basis, anthropological analysis, along with certain political elements that are involved behind these movement and these protests which are ongoing currently in the region of Assam and amidst the visit of Prime Minister in the northeast states. So the Prime Minister is on a 3-day visit from 13 to 15, and he's supposed to cover the 5 northeastern states, and he'll be there in Assam as per the media reports. When I'm shooting this video, probably he will be reaching there anytime. But that is not something of our concern as of now. The concern is basically why the youth is on the streets, why there is a mass protest happening in the region of Assam against the current government of Assam and also the central government. So let's decode this one by one. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Utkarsh Singh, and welcome to StudyIQ English channel in a quick analysis from anthropological and political point of view. So the Moran community of Assam, which basically is a Tibeto-Burman linguistic ethnic group in Assam, along with certain other communities of Assam like Koch-Rajbongshis, the Ahoms, and the tea garden workers, the tea tribes, basically not the tea garden worker, the tea tribes, and the Chutia tribe of Assam, they all are basically asking for the scheduled tribe status or the inclusion in the list of scheduled tribe. Okay? Basically to get the constitutional safeguard and protection. Alright, so this is the image that you just saw basically is from the movement that was basically seen on 3rd of September in Assam. And the Moran community is basically on street. Most of the youths are on street with a number, as mentioned by certain media reports, to be more than 20,000. Okay. And apart from this Moran community, the Ahom Rajbanshis are also in a similar way protesting on the same day of 3rd September. So it is a state-wide phenomena that is happening in the state of Assam. We are also getting certain protest information, certain news from the state of Uttar Pradesh, from the state of Bihar. But what we are witnessing in Assam as of now is comparatively of a way larger magnitude as compared to other protests which are ongoing currently in the region of Assam. So there is some quick information about the Moran community. Although we will be discussing about the other communities involved also, but Moran community is ethnographically and anthropologically more significant. They belong to the Tibeto-Burman linguistic family. Currently, they are speaking the Assamese language, but historically, they were also speaking the traditional language, the Moran language. All right. Initially, their religious code or the religious form was more animistic, that is, belief towards soul, spirit, ancestor worship, and nature worship. But currently, they have converted and shifted their religious belief to be in alignment with the Hinduism sect of Vaishnavism. All right. So they are into Vaishnavism right now, but traditionally, historically, from ethnological and ethnographical point of view, these communities were nature worshipper, ancestor worshipper, and soul worshipper, which is basically called by E.B. Tyler, a prominent British anthropologist, as the belief in animism. All right. So this was a quick breakdown. Most of their social institutions are also getting in line with the mainstream practices within Hinduism. The marriage form, the marriage type, the kinship system, the kinship pattern, the family, everything is in line currently, as you see among the mainland Hindu communities. All right. But earlier it was not so. The traditional system was slightly different before this so-called practice of acculturation and assimilation has influenced a major aspect of their life. So let's do a quick analysis of the news. Firstly, what is happening? So there is a district in Assam that is called as Tinsukia district. All right. In Tinsukia district on 3rd of September, this Moran community, which we have just discussed, demanded for the inclusion in the scheduled tribe. They wanted their the status of scheduled tribe to be bestowed upon them. All right. And for this, basically, they marched and rallied for miles with a population of over 20,000, most of the people basically from the youth. And this movement was basically led by the Moran Student Union. On the same day, that is 3rd of September, there is another student union, that is all Koch-Rajbongshi Student Union, AKRSU. This particular organization or this particular union also organized the torchlight procession, which was demanding a separate state plus the scheduled tribe status. And in response, the police basically came up with the baton charge, or what we call it in Hindi as lathi charge. And due to this action of police, the brutality of the police, a lot of people got injured. As you have seen in the local report, a lot of people came up with the images showing how the police brutality is basically going on. And in response of that, again, this student union called for a 12-hour complete shutdown, Bandh, on 4th of September, which definitely disrupted a lot of day-to-day practices, ongoing practices in the Dhubri district of Assam. All right. Now, coming to the reason why they are doing so. So it is not something of immediate consequences. There is a history behind this. We have to move around 10 to 11 years in the past. During the 2014 Lok Sabha election, the Prime Minister during his visit in Assam has basically promised, as per these people and as per the locals, the inclusion of these communities in the list of scheduled tribe within a period of 6 months. So this was a promise made by the Prime Minister, current Prime Minister, when he was not the Prime Minister. All right. So it was an election campaign during which this promise was basically being made, and it was repeated in the subsequent elections also, in the state legislative assembly elections and the general elections of the 2019. So who are these communities, who are being promised the ST status during the elections? Ahom, Moran, Matak, T tribe, Chutia tribe and Koch-Rajbongshis. Currently, they are in the list of OBC, other backward classes. Okay? They are demanding for the ST status. Why they are demanding? Most of you are familiar that within the constitution, we have a framework for certain groups, certain ethnic minorities, certain population to be designated as a scheduled tribe. And they will be bestowed with certain safeguards, certain rights and certain benefits which will be exclusive to their group. Exclusive to their group. So they are demanding the ST status for these rights, for these benefits, for these protections and safeguards. Now, even in, there is a Sangh which is called as All Assam Tribal Sangh in the Koch-Rajbongshi district committee. You will see the reason on the map of Assam here. They also basically came up with a protest. And this protest was for a different reason. Few time ago in the past, the Assam government released a notification. And in this notification, basically they did what? They included certain communities under the protected classes of person in the Tirap tribal belt. This notification was publicly burned and teared by the member of these All Assam Tribal Sangh as per the media reports, and they did so because they claimed this notification of the current state government of Assam to be anti-tribal. According to them, these safeguards were basically made for the original Adivasis and their rights and their protection and their safeguard. When you are including other groups like these 8 major groups, major communities within the ambit of this particular structure or framework, then you are basically making an anti-tribal move, because this is going to increase the encroachment of tribal land by the non-indigenous group, So they are claiming that this right and this protection was exclusively for us. Now, when you are including other member in this framework, it is definitely going to violate our right and our protection. All right. So this was also being basically within the ambit of this protest. This thing can also be seen. Apart from that, there are certain other demands. See, you must have heard about Article 244(2), which basically deals with the 6th schedule, which deals with the administration of tribal areas in the country. The 6th schedule tribal areas basically covers the 4 Indian states: Mizoram, Assam, Tripura and Meghalaya. Within these states, there are autonomous district councils and autonomous regional councils for specific tribes, the smaller grouping. All right. They are having a lot of autonomy in the regional administration, and they also have autonomy from the cultural perspective. Also, the governor within the framework of 6th schedule is bestowed with certain special provisions, special power and certain special roles and duties to protect the interest of these marginalized communities or these minorities, these tribal people who are basically having a very unique type of ecosystem, a very unique type of cultural basis. All right. So here there is a demand which is basically made by the communities in Assam, that the Moran Autonomous Council, which was basically established in 2020 by the under the state legislation, is not sufficient, as the authority and the power of this particular autonomous body, the Moran Autonomous Council, is very limited in its scope and ambit when you compare it with those councils, other 3 councils within Assam, which are covered under the ambit of 6th schedule, like the Bodoland Territorial Autonomous District Council. All right. So they have sufficiently more power, more authority, and thereby they will provide greater protection and administrative safeguard to these communities. So they are also asking that we also need a similar body. We also need our inclusion fair share, and it is a fair demand as well. Apart from that, you'll see the Chief Minister, the current Chief Minister of Assam, has basically came to front amid the allegations by the opposition. Hemant Biswa basically came up and said that the brutalities which are being mentioned, he completely denied it. And according to him, if any such action or brutality has been conducted by the police forces in the state, adequate actions are going to be undertaken. Now, the opposition members have came up with a counter argument that which kind of state is this, that the Chief Minister of the state is not aware of the actions taken by the state police. So no action can be taken without the acknowledgement of the state police, and you are saying that I am not sure, I have not given these orders. So there is a political contest also going on. The earlier day, Mr. Gaurav Gogoi also basically came up with a massive Twitter post in which he basically attacked the current state government in Assam. So these are the things which are going on currently within the state. We'll talk more about the demand and about the inclusion, why it is so special constitutionally and anthropologically. But before that, let me inform you, if you're somebody who is preparing for UPSC examination and you are coming up with anthropology, or trying to have anthropology as an optional, this is the best time for you, especially if you are a 2026 aspirant. You're targeting for 2026 basically, because our new batches are starting from 16th of September. The classes will be from 11:30 a.m. All right. US Live, the code can be applied for availing the maximum discount and getting admitted to the batch. All right. So anthropology is the shortest optional in UPSC. It has the most perks, the most number of toppers, the highest number of scores are basically achieved in this particular option. If you are also targeting this, because anthropology is a mixed casket or a basket. Why? Because there are a lot of things which not only help you in GS, but also to understand your society. 8.6% of the Indian population is basically the scheduled tribe population, as per census 2011. We do not have any current census data. Probably in present it will be more than 9%. And we do not hear about these people, their culture, their practice, their demands. So this is basically addressed in optional like anthropology. There is a complete section dedicated for the coverage of the scheduled tribes or the tribes in general, not only the scheduled tribe. All right. So if you are interested, you can be the part. If you have any question, any query about the optional, is it going to be right choice for you? Can you get any extra discount, and any other query pertaining to anthropology option, you can reach out to me on these IDs. Utkarsh Singh _ here on Instagram, okutkarsingh@gmail.com on definitely the email ID, and Telegram handle is also given. Although you cannot message here, but you can receive a lot of content, free content and information, enrichment material of anthropology option on this particular channel. Do not forget to use code US Live if you are a new student. If you are an old student or already existing student, you can ask for greater discount by reaching out to me on these IDs. Now let us try to understand that what might be the reason and what is the role of recognition as a scheduled tribe. What is the framework of the scheduled tribe, and what is the importance of the 6th schedule. So let's open with the page. Now, there are a lot of groups and a lot of communities in India that are demanding the status of scheduled tribe. But why there is a hindrance, there is a problem? Why cannot we simply say yes or no to these communities? The first and the major problem is that our constitution defines that who is going to be the key stakeholder in the process of inclusion of a tribal group or any other group within the ambit of scheduled tribe. and that person is basically president along with the consultation of governor. So president and governor are basically bestowed with this power under the constitution to basically recognize and notify any community as a tribal community. They have this power. But what is going to be the criteria or basis based upon which these people are going to notify a particular group as a tribal group or a scheduled tribe? All right. So there was a complete absence of any administrative criteria till the year of 1965, immediately after the death of Pandit Nehru. All right. So in 1965, a committee that was Lokor committee basically made a recommendation. Okay, na? The individual who basically presided over this committee was B.N. Lokur. He was earlier the law secretary of India. Okay, na? So B.N. Lokur basically gave a criteria which was that there are certain characteristic or certain features which a community or which a tribe must have to be included in the list of scheduled tribe. The eligibility criteria basically. So the first criteria was they must possess primitive traits. What do you mean by primitive traits? For example, every community has certain economical and subsistence based strategy to follow, and for doing those economic activities and other work, they basically will use certain tools, certain instruments, certain technology. All right. The technology or the instrument or the tools that is used by these communities, the scheduled tribe, will be very primitive, will be very simplistic. For example, we are also engaged in economic work, all right, and currently also we are into an economic type of relationship, all right. So I'm working here for an institution and I'm using a lot of tools and technology. Behind me there is a digital board on which you can do a lot of work. There is lighting system, a camera recorder, and a lot of other technological instruments which are complex in their origin, structure and functionality. When you compare it with the tools that is used by the tribal people, it is in complete contrast because they are using simple plow, simple sickles, they are using basically baskets, nets, etc. Very simple tools and instruments are basically employed for their subsistence strategies and for their economic needs. All right. So there is a primitive trait that you will find in the culture and economic functioning of the people, then only they can be called as a scheduled tribe. This criteria, this trait has to be there, this feature has to be there for a group to be designated as a scheduled tribe. The second was shyness of contact. Shyness of contact basically means a certain hesitation from getting along or maintaining any type of cultural contact with mainland communities or with the non-tribal communities. All right. So they are sort of reserved. They try to remain isolated and they do not want to make any type of contact with the other communities, basically the non-tribal communities. A very good example of this is the Sentinelese tribal group, which is found in the North Sentinel Island in the Andaman and Nicobar region. It is one of the PVTGs, one of the most deprived tribe and one of the most isolated tribe and one of the smallest tribe of India. The number of this tribal group, although not directly analyzed, but is believed to be around 38 or 40 at max. All right. So whenever we have tried to make any contact with these people of Andaman and Nicobar Island, basically it failed. During 2004 floods, when certain rescue helicopters were basically roaming here and there around their island group, around their territorial region, they basically shot arrows on it. All right. They fired arrows on the helicopters, the rescue helicopters. So because they do not want to make any contact. Now this is an extreme response or reaction, which is not shown by most of the other communities. There are 715 plus scheduled tribes in India. Not all of these communities and not of all of these tribals basically have this type of reaction. But definitely still they will like to maintain a certain distance. They do not want any type of direct cultural contact with the non-tribal or the mainland communities. So this was the second feature that was basically acknowledged by B.N. Lokur to be a identification mark in the process of inclusion of a group under the scheduled tribe. The third criteria was backwardness. Backwardness in terms of education, which is reflected through the literacy rate. Backwardness in terms of economy, which is basically reflected by annual income and other resources, availability of resources. And thirdly, in political representation. All right. So they are the voiceless people. Their voice is not often heard. It is ignored. And there is no adequate political representation who is going to do the same thing for them. So there is a lack of political representation, and this backwardness was considered as the third criteria. All right. The fourth criteria is very simple. It is geographical isolation. Not only they may have this feature of shyness of contact, but definitely to maintain that distance, there is also a geographical isolation. So mostly these tribals are scattered in the regions with less population density. All right, the hilly region, the forest areas, or areas which do not have any immediate contact with the neighboring mainland or non-tribal community. So there is a, in sense, there is a geographical isolation as well. So these traits were basically used in the process of estimation of a group to be a tribal group. The primitive traits has to be there, the shyness of contact has to be there, and also there has to be a distinct culture. Distinct culture, for example, in terms of custom, practices, beliefs, ideas, social cultural institution, these groups has to be distinct from other existing groups in that particular region or in general within a particular state or a country. Example given, there is a tribe, there is a region in Uttarakhand called as Jaunsari region. There are few people, the community living there called as Jaunsari people. They are also called as Khasas. A very popular singer, Jubin Nautiyal, also belongs to that particular community. Now, they believe themselves to be the descendant of the Pandavas of the Mahabharata, and they do practice polyandry, which is the practice where there is one wife, a common wife, and there are multiple husbands. All right. So this is a unique practice. It is not seen very frequently in Indian society. Around the year of 1904, a scholar, a foreign anthropologist came to India. His name was W.H.R. Rivers, and he studied a community in Tamil Nadu in the Nilgiri hills called as Todas. Few kilometers away from, I think, few hours away from Coimbatore, there is a region called as Udagmandalam, which you might know as Ooty. All right. So in the region of Ooty, there are these people, tribal people called as Todas, who are basically pastoral herders. Among them also, there is this practice of polyandry, which is a unique and a distinct practice, which is not commonly seen. Some of the communities basically follow polygyny. In the religious belief also, there are certain communities which are animistic. As discussed earlier, that some of the communities which are mentioned in this particular video lecture, Morans, etc., traditionally in the earlier time frame, they are recorded to have practiced animism, which is belief in spirit or soul. But then they converted and switched to Vaishnavism. All right. They got accultured due to the cultural contact. They got assimilated within the Hindu fold. All right. So there is also that cultural distinctness. Okay. Apart from that, when you go to Meghalaya, all right, we are talking about Assam, from one of the most prominent places of Assam, that is Guwahati, almost like a district headquarter or almost like a state headquarter, one of the most developed areas in Assam. You have to travel around 3 hours, I believe. I have been there in around 2021 to 23. I was there in Northeast. I have traveled most of the states, 5 of the states out of the 7 states in the Northeast. So it is a few hour journey from Guwahati to Shillong, that is the capital of Meghalaya. In Meghalaya, there are 3 communities, majorly 2 communities out of them, like Garos and the Khasis. They are matrilineal, which is unlike most of the communities across the world. Most of the communities across the world are patrilineal. All right. That means the inheritance or the transfer of surname, wealth, property, etc. goes from father to son in a patrilineal society. But those communities like Garos and the Khasis in the Meghalaya, they are matrilineal. So the inheritance is basically in the female line from mother to the daughter. That is a unique custom, a unique tradition, unique practice that is not seen among other communities. So Lokur committee also mentioned that there has to be distinctive culture or distinctive cultural element, which can be utilized for the purpose of identification of a particular group as a scheduled tribe. I believe I am clear till this point. All right. So whenever these communities are demanding the status of a scheduled tribe, we have to first analyze, are they withstanding the criteria mentioned? But then there is often a refutal question that in the past few decades, a lot of communities who are given the right of scheduled tribe, do they also adhere to this phenomenon? And will this criteria of 1965, how many years like have passed? 30, 40, 50, around 60 years, 6 decades. Can we still rely on this 6-decade-old criteria for the purpose of tribal inclusion, or we need to modify? So the response of the MOTA, that is Ministry of Tribal Affairs, was that yes, we are still following it and pretty much going to follow this approach or the criteria that is given by the Lokur committee. But then there is definitely a question mark that are the communities to whom the rights of scheduled tribe are given, do they have geographical isolation? Do they necessarily follow distinctive culture? Because most of the communities are getting accultured, assimilated. There is huge impact of infrastructural development, urbanization, industrialization, globalization, modernization. due to which there is a cultural contact. The geographical isolation is no more there. Geographical isolation is no more there. All right, because of the increased contact, communication, connectivity, thanks to the processes of industrialization, urbanization, majorly, and also the Western education. So most of these groups are getting accultured. Their practices are no more unique. Their practices are no more distinct. Their practices are no more original. They are transformed and more akin and more in sync with the modern mainland communities or the modern societies. All right. The primitive traits are also mostly non-existent in most of the communities, if not all. So we need to either revisit this particular criteria, the 6-decade-old criteria, or we need to at least revisit or reanalyze that the rights that we are basically giving to the communities in the past decade, have we basically followed this particular criteria, or was that only for the political appeasement? Because most of the time when there is election in some or the other state, the political leaders basically come up with certain claims or certain promises which basically dilute the spirit of constitution. All right, because if a particular group who is not eligible for the title of scheduled tribe is given the title, then it will promote the phenomena of pseudo-tribalism. The non-tribal will start getting the rights of tribal, and that is against the constitutional spirit, that those who are basically supposed to get the right, they are not getting it, and those who are not supposed to get the right, they are getting included in the list of scheduled tribe. So there will be a problem likewise. All right, and if they deserve it, then why not give them straight away? Why not include them in the list? Because justice delayed is justice denied. If their claims are genuine, you need to basically fast track it, the involvement, because we cannot sit all together waiting for certain new phenomena or for the next election for the involvement. All right, so these dimensions are to be seen. Now, apart from that, we have also mentioned that these tribes are also wanting the coverage under the 6th schedule. Now, 6th schedule is basically coming under the Article 244(2) of the Indian Constitution, which basically deals with the administration of the tribal areas. All right, and it has certain very unique and important features like the ADCs, Autonomous District Council, Autonomous Regional Council, and the role of governor is also quite special in these particular areas. So what do these ADCs and ARCs basically deal with? They deal with the regulation of land, the transfer of land, the sale and the purchase of land, the management of the forest. All right. Apart from that, they also deal with the, you can say, they have certain judicial powers as well. For example, if there is a crime or criminal act being conducted, they will basically constitute a court which will try the individual. There will be trial of the individual or the people who are accused within the framework of the customary laws. So there will be trial in terms of the customary law without necessarily following the framework of the IPC, the CRPC. They are not following basically that. So they are doing their trials and judicial process as per their political and judicial features, which are part of their culture. All right. Apart from that, also they are having a lot of other powers to basically safeguard and protect the interest of tribal in these regions. Governor is also given an important role. Governor can basically restrict any act of the parliament from being directly applied on these tribal areas, and he can basically ask for modifying it altogether or a certain part of it. All right. He is also basically having an important role in the functioning of ADC, in the constitution of the ADC, in the size, in the basically he can nominate members to the ADCs basically. All right. So there are some members who are getting selected and the other are basically getting nominated. So governor is also having a role in the ADCs, in the size, the appointment of ADCs, the appointment process of the ADCs. All right. So these are the two things which are demanded by these people, and we need to understand not only from the political point of view, but also from the anthropological point of view. All right, because India is a quite diverse country, and the interest of tribal people or the people who are basically claiming to be tribals has to be seen from a balanced perspective. Because earlier in 2023 also we saw a similar condition in Manipur, where the Meitei community of the valley region of Manipur demanded, Imphal Valley demanded the right of the tribals, the scheduled tribe inclusion. But the hill tribes or the indigenous population of Manipur, namely the Nagas, the Jomis and the Kukis, mainly the Kukis and the Jomis, they basically refuted their claim. All right. So these things have to be seen from a very balanced point of view. Now with this, we will be winding up the lecture. We'll be there again if there is some more addition or some additional development being done in this particular regard. So you can subscribe to our channel if you have not already. And also you can join my Telegram channel for important updates, resources, material, etc. If you are willing to join Anthropology optional batch, I have given you the details and the features are also mentioned. If you are willing to join the batch, make sure that you select the right variant of the optional course or the GS course. So I'm getting a site from the board. You can take a screenshot and you can refer it later. We offer basically two different variants in optional course, gold and platinum. Some of the features are similar. For example, live classes, recorded classes, completion of complete syllabus, and the coverage of PYQs, complete content, they are common in both gold and platinum variant. But platinum is having certain additional features like one-to-one mentorship, personalized mentorship, regular answer writing. Apart from that, you will also get a mains test series, sectional plus full-length test series along with its evaluation and model answers. Then optional Gyan Bhandar and a special session with the faculty, that is me, definitely, if you are taking anthropology optional, it is also exclusive feature of platinum. Also, the validity of platinum is 1 year, like comparatively greater than compared to the gold. So it is 2.5 years, 30 months, gold is 18 months, that is 1.5 years. Likewise, P2I also comes in 3 variant, gold, platinum and diamond. You can refer to these variants, and if you are a new student, go to the website or application, use the code USLive for getting maximum discount across all the courses, A to Z, all the courses of StudyIQ. If you are somebody who has already enrolled earlier or has currently enrolled in some other program, then you can basically reach out to me for the additional discount code. But for that, you need to provide me with your registered mobile number and also the variant and the course that you are willing to join. All right. So I'll take your leave now. All the very best for your preparation, those who are preparing, and for the journal viewers, see you back. Goodbye. Jai Hind.